one of my favorite quotes is culture eats strategy for breakfast every time. If you've got a bad culture in your organization, it doesn't matter how good you are at strategizing, it's not going to work out. So you've got to have the right attitude of people. You've got to encourage cooperation. You have to be a mediator and deal with those sorts of things.
Welcome to Gone to Texas, the official podcast of the Texas Economic Development Connection. On every episode, we share the stories of business owners and CEOs who have relocated or expanded their business into Texas. Our goal is to use these stories as a guide to help others who are ready to hang a sign on the door that says, Gone to Texas. And now, please welcome your host, the Managing Partner and Chief Inspiration Officer for Day One Experts, Super Dave Quinn.
All right. Howdy, friends, and welcome to another episode of Gone to Texas podcast, powered by Day One Experts, where we tell the real stories of business growth, relocation, and entrepreneurship in the great Lone Star State. I'm your host, Super Dave Quinn, and today's episode is brought to you by our friends at the Bonham Economic Development Corporation, a small-town powerhouse that understands how to support industry with both vision and grit. Our guest is Dustin Divinia, the president and CEO of Vector Systems. His company is quietly powering some of the most critical processes and energy systems in the country, all from right here in Bonham, Texas. Dustin grew up around engineering and developed a love for mechanical and electrical systems at an early age. After earning a mechanical engineering degree from Texas Tech, he became a trusted leader in design of selective catalytic. Holy cow. Dustin, you're going to have to help me with that. Oh, man. I stumbled over that. All right, so we'll pick it up. He became a trusted leader in design of selective catalytic reduction systems, a technology most people don't see, but nearly every energy plant relies on. Today, Dustin leads Vector Systems into the future that blends alternative fuels, industrial precision, and a relentless commitment to quality. If you've ever wondered if rural Texas fits into the future of American energy, this is your episode. Let's get into it now with Dustin. Welcome to the show.
Thanks very much, Dave.
All right, man. So let's set it up a little bit, give everybody a little idea of what is Vector Systems for the layman's terms. If I'm not in the industry, what is it exactly you guys do, and set that up for us.
Well, my normal answer to that, since I used to be in sales, is what do you need? Vector Systems manufactures custom fluid process packages, and that means a lot of things. But basically, it's our customers come to us and they need some sort of fluid transformed from one state to another, whether that's hotter, whether that's colder, higher pressure, controlled by level, controlled by flow, whatever it happens to be. They have fluid coming in and they want it to come out in a different condition. We put the package together that goes in between and makes that happen for them. In the power industry, we supply filtration equipment, heating equipment, pollution control equipment. Same thing in the refinery industry. Other industries we serve, cement, gypsum, alternative energies like biofuels and biogas, anything that's got a fluid that's got to flow and be conditioned in some way. We build a little miniature processing plant for that, whether that means storing it in tanks, whether that means cleaning it up, increasing its temperature, all sorts of different applications we can do. We don't have any technology. We're strictly an integrator. So we buy heaters, we buy fans, we buy valves, and then we build all the pieces to put that together in a skid package that ships out to a larger plant, whether that be power or petrochem or cement or whatever the industry happens to be. And it supports a much bigger processing plant of some kind.
So really, if somebody comes to you with a problem, I've got to get this to that. This is my problem. You go out and look for the different solutions, and you're engineering that process to make it go from X to Y, or?
Typically, the process has been designed before we get it, or engineered.
Okay.
And we do the actual design. We lay out the piping. We make sure it's the proper size. We figure out what instrumentation best suits the application. Put that instrumentation on. We hook up conduit and wire. Sometimes we supply the control systems, custom programmed controllers that do the actual process control. That's actually how the company got started in 1987, is the former founders had a customer come to them when they were working for another company and said, "We want this done," and that their boss didn't want to do it. So these guys broke off and started building custom control panels for other companies that their boss did not want to touch. And suddenly they're in the control panel business.
So y'all has it always been in Bonham? Is that where it started?
Oh, no. The company started out as a 3-man operation down in Richardson, Texas in 1987. And in 1999, I think that's roughly when it was, 1999, they had a customer approach them and say, your control panel is the best thing that goes into our plant. Will you consider building skid packages for us? So he started looking at what was going on. He'd been in the field his entire career, and he said, I can do this. I can bring in the talent that's needed. So he brought in welders and assembly guys and started actually taking the control panels and mounting it onto these larger skid packages that we build today. And eventually we moved to McKinney. We had a custom built facility. I joined the company in 2002, and we built a new facility in McKinney, Texas, which is where I'm currently sitting, and grew from there. We added pressure vessel tank capabilities about 2007, 2008, shortly after we got into this new facility here. And we outgrew it about 2019. And I found this opportunity to lease some space in Bonham through a friend of mine, an old childhood friend of mine. And COVID hit and knocked most of his family out that was running their business out in the front side of this. And he said, "My sister and I are done. We don't want to deal with this anymore. Will you buy the company?" So we now own that facility up in Bonham, and we're getting ready to move the entire company up there. We're landlocked in McKinney, and we're out of space. So we're making that move. We won't have our new headquarters built for another 2 years, but we are making moves to come up and lease property by the end of this year. It's an existing facility in Bonham. We're going to move in there, and then we're going to bring in some temporary office space on the existing facility. We're actually on the west side of Bonham Airport, the Jones Field up there, and we're going to lease a property on the east side. So we'll be doing some of the manufacturing on the east side until our new factory is built, probably 2 years from now, 2 to 2.5 years.
To give our audience some sort of context, how big is your company? What when you say your facility, what size facility are you talking about building?
Well, we are currently in a 36,000 square foot facility in McKinney. We have another 12,000 square feet in Bonham. We're going to be moving out of this facility into a 22,000 square foot facility plus 8,000 square feet of offices. And when it's all said and done, 2.5 years down the road, we're going to be at around 90,000 square feet on the west side of the airport.
Ah, that's amazing. So, and how many employees do you have?
When I joined the company, we had 9. We grew to about 50. At one point, we dropped back. When I took over the company in 2019, we had about 35 employees. We had shrunk a little bit at 35 employees, and we currently are at 108.
Oh, wow.
Is our total number. And we're projecting probably by the end of next year being somewhere around 115 to 120.
That's amazing. So talk a little bit about that. When one of the questions we get a lot from business owners who are coming in, they're actually on a rapid growth trajectory, and for whatever reason, they're looking to come to Texas just because they can't get the employees where they are, or there's some regulation or something happens when they cross some threshold, and it's really limiting their growth. And so talk a little bit about that process of going from 35 to 100. Where, have you been able to find the talent, and what's that been like for you?
Well, from a leadership standpoint, you have to completely change the tools you're using. Can't micromanage by any means. I mean, when I joined the company, I had 18 hats I was wearing. I'm down to 1 now. You hire the right people. One of my favorite quotes is, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast every time." If you've got a bad culture in your organization, it doesn't matter how good you are at strategizing. it's not going to work out. So you've got to have the right attitude of people. You've got to encourage cooperation. You have to be a mediator and deal with those sorts of things. As far as the question about Texas, I've lived here, I would say, the majority of my life. Um, it's business friendly. It always has been. It's got plenty of space. It's got its own port. It's got its own electrical grid. I mean, independence is what Texas is all about. And I can't imagine doing business anywhere else. Maybe Oklahoma. I don't know. But Texas is the place to be. And I think that's why we're seeing such an influx from other states, people coming in here.
Well, I think too, the question people have, they when they look from outside of Texas, they usually know Houston, Dallas, Austin, sort of the metro. And I always say you don't really mean Dallas, and they don't. They mean the Dallas, North Texas area, which is really big. And I think that's why it's so important for folks like Bonham to share stories like yours, where you don't necessarily have to be right in the core of Dallas. I mean, you're able to operate, you're able to get talent, you're able to find the resources that you need. Yet you're about an hour and a half from Dallas, or an hour from the McKinney metro area?
From McKinney, it's about 38 miles.
Okay.
From DFW Airport, Bonham's a bit of a stretch. It's about an hour and 45 minutes to drive down there. But you look at Texas again, the infrastructure is fantastic. Bonham is right at the intersection of 78, 121, and 82. We can get all the raw materials brought in very easily to that area and ship our equipment out. Our equipment's not big enough to require rail, so road is perfectly fine with us. It's got the right kind of employment opportunities for us. We find that when you're welding and you're bolting things together, the best kind of candidate you can go after is a farm boy. And Bonham and Fannin County is still pretty rural. I mean, those guys grow up working on tractors and welding fences. They know what a hard day's work is worth. And being in McKinney, when we first moved up here in 07, it was still on the outskirts. It's now landlocked. I mean, there are all sorts of Fortune 500 companies and so forth coming in here. And I realized Bonham eventually is going to see that, but I'm hoping it's 20, 25 years away. And we're going to be able to continue to find the type of workforce that we need up there. We're actively hiring people from Sherman, Paris, and Bonham right now to train for this move into Bonham. They'll be working in our new facilities up there. It's the right kind of place for us to be.
Well, that's so you ship your customer base. Is it national, or what is your customer footprint?
Our customer base is domestic, but we have equipment all over the world. We're usually 2 or 3 down on the totem pole, so to speak. So we've got stuff in Asia, we've got stuff in Africa, off the coast of Africa, Europe, Australia. We've done work everywhere. So we may not have international purchase orders, but our equipment is definitely going overseas.
But you're shipping around the world, really. Your product, you're shipping out from Bonham, and it's getting to where it needs to go around the world. Okay. Well, so tell us a little bit about working. The other thing that I find is that small business owners don't understand how the local economic development and city work to help you, right? They are not used to people actively trying to help you do and grow your business. And I kind of have to convince them of that. And at first they don't believe it. And then they have a couple of conversations with economic development folks, and they start to realize that no, there's folks actually, they want to see you succeed, and they're trying to figure out how to help you. Has that been your experience?
It has definitely been my experience in Bonham. My first introduction to the Bonham government up there was a little bit sideways. I got a letter from their city lawyer making serious demands. And I did what any good leader would do. I went in with my fists up and said, no, we're going to negotiate from a position of strength here. And then I stepped away for a while, and I came back and I said, let's have a conversation. And first thing I want to know is, do you want us here? And their response was absolutely. They realized that not everybody can work for Popeye's Fried Chicken and Starbucks. That, those are people fresh out of school or people in school doing those types of jobs. They need places for their parents to work, not driving into Dallas every day to work in a factory down there. So we started a conversation, and yeah, they've been very friendly to us. They want their people working for Vector Systems. I did a podcast recently, and somebody asked me, "What's your vision for Bonham?" And I said, "Hey, guy, I'm from out of town." I said, "This is not my town. I'm here to help you guys fulfill what your vision is of the town. I got enough trouble trying to work on the vision of just my company." And they said, "Okay, we get it."
That's a great answer.
Yeah, I'm trying to help you achieve what you want, and hopefully not get overwhelmed. We're actively involved in the Chamber of Commerce up there. We helped out. The very first thing we did was help out with the bicycle ride in the October fest that they have every year, and from there it grew. And the relationship's been really good. I've gotten to know some really great people. You mentioned Joey with the BEDCO, the Bonham Economic Development Group. He has been very helpful. Him and the city planner, the council, the mayor, they've all said, "Hey, you need anything, come talk to us." I'm like, okay. So far, I haven't had to. Right?
Bonham, Texas is the county seat of Fannin County. It's the commercial center of the county and is located along State Highway 121 and the U.S. Highway 82. Steeped in history, Bonham is the one of the oldest cities in Texas and home of Sam Rayburn. It has its own municipal airport and is located just north of the DFW region, which is the fastest growing region in the U.S. Bonham also boasts several industrial and manufacturing enterprises, including Vector Systems, Tundgrun International, Clayton Homes, Kelso, Relenta, Doors, TCI Transcable, and more. The community is also home to the Sam Rayburn Veterans Center that employs over 800 people. With its proximity to DFW and Sherman, Bonham has a strong workforce and recently approved 2 large new housing developments that should take shape very soon. Lastly, Bonham provides 2 lakes, Lake Bonham, a 1,000-acre recreational lake, and the Bodark, the first reservoir built in Texas in over 30 years. Bodark Lake is over 17,000 surface acres and provides lakeside living and recreational opportunities. Bonham has a pro-growth and pro-development attitude and wants your business. I'm Super Dave Quinn saying thank you to Joey Grisham and the Bonham EDC for sponsoring this episode of Gone to Texas. Don't just dream about it. Make the move to Texas today. They're one of our more proactive, on LinkedIn, their posts and those sort of things. They just have an attitude of, no, we're going to do this. It's with intention, right? It's not just we want anything and everything. It is, we have a vision, we're trying to get there, and we're going to invest in making that happen. So I think you're in good hands there.
I think so too. And, I hope they can preserve the culture. There's some really interesting things about Bonham that most people don't have any idea. I learn something new every day. I follow a couple of Facebook pages. I found out there used to be an old train turntable and roundhouse down there that Pacific Northern had right downtown. And the remnants are still there. I'm going to go down and visit it. I want to find out what this thing looks like and where it was and what the history is. It's a great little town. It's going to have some growing pains, and I think they know that, and they're trying to do what they can to set the structure up and reserve the culture and try not to overwhelm the people that already live there. I think they're going to be successful.
That's the sense I get, is that, anytime you have a growing community, there's things that are going to change and evolve and whatnot. But if you have city leadership that are intentional about minimizing the pain as it happens, right? You can't avoid it. I guess if you don't grow and die, there's a different kind of pain. But Bonham seems to be a town that understands where they are and what opportunities they have, and they're trying to invest in that. So
they're hiring people from nearby cities that have the experience, have experienced it, and hopefully have learned what not to do and what to do.
Right. They've seen it happen in McKinney and other places. And as you mentioned, Collin County is kind of blossoming out, and which makes it really an opportune place to be, because you can, again, operate in Bonham. You have a lower cost of operations. You have the land and availability to build something there. But you're not so far out that you're not going to get talent. There's things to do. You can easily pop over to the Metroplex if you need to. Again, an hour and a half for an international airport, that's not terrible. You don't need to be right next to it. So I do think there's lots of positive things with its location.
Absolutely. We're going to maintain a small office here in McKinney for the customers that want to come in and sit down in, sales, engineering, and can meet here in McKinney. And then if they want to come up to the plant, it's a 38-minute drive. It's quick and easy. Take them up there, spend the afternoon, look at what we're doing on their projects, and get them back down here and get them home. The other exciting thing is McKinney's putting in a four-gate commercial terminal on the southeast side of the airport. They've got part of it already put in. They've broken ground on it. They're talking about having several flights to different destinations around the country. That's going to make things easier on us, not having to transfer all the way to Dallas or drive into Dallas and go to DFW or left field.
Right.
Maybe not all flights, but some of them.
I'll give you a little bit. If you had some advice for a business owner who, again, most of our audience is the small to medium manufacturing. They own the plant, or they're the owner. What's some advice that you might give them as they move into Texas? What are things that they need to be thinking about when they're setting up to grow? Transplanting into Texas, what does that look like? What are some tips that you've learned, growing your organization from 35 now over to 100 plus? What are some things that you think are important?
Adapt and overcome is probably the most important thing. If you're looking to move into Texas, the highest thing that I could say you need to do is get involved in the local community. Get to know who the people are. Let them know you're here to help. Engage, participate, support, whatever you can do. Get that reciprocal coming back to you. Get their support in turn. I'm talking from a city standpoint here, but Texas is the same way. We don't want people coming in from out of state and polluting our state. We all have an enormous pride about the state. We like it the way it is. Don't come in here and expect us to change, because we're not going to.
Well, I think one of the things that I think is sort of interesting is I talk to a lot of people. Obviously, that's my job, is to help people come into Texas, and most of them are coming because what they liked about their state, or what they liked it at one point, but it has changed beyond what they can stand, and so they're actually coming to Texas because they feel like it's more like what they are associated with, right? And so I think that's something that is sort of interesting, because we're bringing in, again, small business owners who, man, they just want a good place to live and work. They want to raise their kids. They want to have a good life, and they want to provide that to those that work for them. And they want to make a profit. They want to be profitable and build something. And I think that's on that we all align. And really, I find we're a lot more alike in that for the people that are coming that I talk to. Because they are the owners of the business that are, they're coming in, they're seeking what they've lost wherever they are.
I would agree with that. I mean, one of the reasons we're motivated to get out of McKinney is when we moved here in 2007, 20 years ago, we had the city of Allen and the city of McKinney competing for our business to come here. And they were very open-armed in McKinney compared to Allen. And I think it's because of the progression out of Dallas. Went back to the economic development group about 3 years ago here in McKinney and didn't get the time of day. We weren't big enough for them anymore. Going to Bonham was a big change for us. It was a arms open sort of thing. So it depends on where you go when you're coming in from out of state, or when you're moving from a different region to Texas. But get to know the community. Get to know who it is you're dealing with, what they want, what their desires are, what they need help with. And get involved as early as you possibly can.
All right. Well, I really appreciate your time today. It's always fun to get to talk to business owners who are growing stuff. Now, as a business owner myself, I realize just how hard it is to one, build something, but keep it going. And, having been operating since 1987, and growing it from 35 to 100, I can't imagine. I have a hard enough time with just a couple employees I have. I can't imagine having to keep up with 100. So, thank you for that. Thank you for what you bring to Texas. And I appreciate, the work that you're doing and all that you're doing and how it impacts everybody in Texas and what you're doing. And I know our friends in Bonham really appreciate it, and Joey speaks very highly of you. And I just want to say thank you for jumping on here and taking a few minutes today to share your story and let us know. Now, I don't know that our audience, but if they might need your assistance, but if somebody wanted to connect with you and actually learn more about you and what you do and maybe solve a problem for them, how can people contact you?
Our website is a great place to start, vectorsystems-usa.com. We're all over social media. My marketing team is constantly putting it out there. One of the things that's different about us compared to some of the other businesses in North Texas is we are a business to business, not a business to consumer. So our marketing is a little bit differently. There's some really fun things going on our social media. Take that with stride. There is some serious stuff on there. There's some technical content. But it's interesting. Check us out. You mentioned 1987. It occurs to me that I was still in high school when this company was founded. I graduated that year, barely. It does make me feel a little old. I joined the company because I liked what the owner was doing. And, I count a lot of my success to surrounding myself with the right people. You're only as successful as the people you surround yourself with. It goes back to that whole thing about culture. You can have the greatest strategy in the world, but if you don't have a team that can make things happen and buy into what it is you believe in and what you want to accomplish, you're not going anywhere. So people's a big factor.
I love it. I'm a big believer in spending time with the people that inspire you and light you up, and I don't mind being the dumbest person in the room. In fact, if I'm in the wrong room, if that's the case, we're all in trouble if I'm the smartest guy in the room.
Right there with you.
I love it. All right. Well, Dustin, thanks again for doing this. Really appreciate it. All right, folks, thanks for listening to another episode of Gone to Texas. If you found value in today's show, don't keep it to yourself. Like, share, and subscribe so more business owners can discover what's possible here in the Lone Star State. If you're serious about relocating or expanding your business in Texas, stop wasting time and guessing. The Texas Economic Development Connection exists to connect you faster with the people and communities ready to help you grow here in the Lone Star State. Don't just admire Texas from a distance. Start building your future here today. Visit us today at www.texasedconnection.com to set up a call and learn how we can help you move to Texas. I'm your host, Super Dave Quinn, saying bye for now, but until next time, make it a great day.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Gone to Texas, the official podcast of the Texas Economic Development Connection, powered by Day One Experts, a collection of the country's best-known economic development professionals offering on-demand services to communities across the nation.